I didn't plan to ruin anyone's wedding. That's the first thing I need to say because people love to rewrite the story later. I wasn't angry anymore, not really. I was calm, steady. Almost detached, the kind of calm you only get after life has already broken you once and you've survived it. But the moment I stepped out of that black sedan holding the hands of my 3 kids and saw his face drain of color, I knew this wasn't going to stay quiet. Some truths don't whisper. They walk straight into the room and flip the lights on. 3 years earlier, I was the woman everyone pitied. The wife who couldn't give him children. The one people talked about in lowered voices at charity dinners like infertility was contagious. My ex-husband Daniel Cross didn't lower his voice at all. He said it plainly across our marble kitchen island as if he were explaining a bad investment. "I want a family," he said. "Real kids. My kids. And you can't give me that. No yelling, no drama, just facts like he'd already emotionally left weeks before I realized he was gone." I remember laughing at first. Not because it was funny, but because my brain refused to accept that 9 years of marriage could be reduced to a faulty organ. Doctors had already told me the odds were slim. Endometriosis, complications, words that followed me like shadows. Daniel used to swear none of that mattered, that I was enough. Turns out enough has an expiration date when someone starts believing they deserve more. He moved out 2 weeks later. 6 months after that, he was photographed on a yacht with a fashion influencer named Lila Monroe, all teeth and legs and headlines about new beginnings. The blogs called it an upgrade. I called it abandonment. Same thing, different font. The divorce was ugly. Not loud, just cold. Lawyers' spreadsheets, asset lists. I walked away with money that looked impressive on paper and felt completely useless at night when the house was too quiet. I couldn't stay in the city. Everywhere I went, I was still Daniel Cross's ex-wife, the woman he outgrew. So I left. I bought a struggling olive farm in Northern California, the kind of place people buy when they want to disappear or reinvent themselves. I wasn't sure which one I was doing, maybe both. The work saved me. Dirt under my nails, early mornings, muscles sore in a way grief couldn't touch. I stopped thinking about Daniel every day. I stopped checking the news. I started sleeping again. And then, one morning, I threw up in the sink and thought great stress finally caught up with me. It wasn't stress. When the doctor told me I was pregnant, I corrected him. I said, "No, actually, that's not possible." When he showed me the screen and quietly added, "There are 3, I sat there in stunned silence, trying to understand how the universe could be so cruel and so generous at the same time. Triplets. Naturally conceived. Against every medical prediction I'd ever been given. Life has a twisted sense of humor, you know what I mean? I did the math alone in my car. The timing lined up with the last night Daniel came over to sign paperwork. One night, one mistake, one impossible outcome. I didn't call him. Not then. I told myself I was protecting my peace, but if I'm being honest, I was protecting my kids from a man who only wanted children when they came without complication. The pregnancy was brutal. Bed rest. Fear. 3 tiny heartbeats that became my entire world. When my kids were born early but strong, I named them Miles, Rowan, and Ivy. 3 lives who had no idea they were the punchline to a cosmic joke their father never saw coming. I raised them alone with help from neighbors and friends who became family. I built a business out of that farm. It thrived. So did I. Daniel remarried. Lila became Lila Cross. Their wedding announcement showed up in my forwarded mail cream paper gold lettering, the kind of elegance that screams control. I almost laughed. They were finally doing it, and suddenly the question I'd avoided for 3 years wouldn't leave me alone. What do I tell my kids someday? That their father exists, but I chose silence. That felt wrong. Silence protects adults. Truth protects children. So I decided to go, not to beg, not to scream, just to stand there fully formed, no longer the woman he dismissed. I dressed simply. The kids wore matching navy outfits, nothing flashy, just enough to make the resemblance unmistakable. We arrived right as the ceremony ended, timing intentional. I wasn't there to interrupt vows. I was there to confront reality. The lobby buzzed when people recognized me. Whispers spread fast. Is that her? I thought she couldn't. Phones came out. I hated that part, but I kept walking. Then Daniel appeared, laughing with his friends, relaxed, confident, until he saw us. I'll never forget that look. Confusion first, then calculation, then something close to fear. He walked toward us like he was sleepwalking. "What are you doing here?" he asked, voice low, tight. Before I could answer, Miles looked up at him and said, "Are you the guy everyone's staring at?" I almost smiled. Daniel crouched down, eyes darting between their faces, searching for denial and finding none. "Who are they?" he asked me, even though he already knew. I let the silence stretch just long enough to hurt. "They're yours," I said. Simple, clean, devastating. Lila arrived then, radiant and furious, demanding explanations. Daniel couldn't look at her. He couldn't look away from the kids either. He asked me why I didn't tell him. I told him the truth. "You left because you thought I was broken. I wasn't going to hand my children to someone who only values them when they validate his ego." That's when the room exploded. Lila crying, guests filming openly, someone's aunt gasping like she'd just witnessed a crime. Daniel reached for the kids. I stepped back. "They don't know you," I said, "and you don't get to claim them in public after ignoring them in private." We left. No shouting, no security escort, just silence heavy enough to follow us all the way back to the car. 2 weeks later, Daniel showed up at my farm. No cameras, no lawyers, just a man who finally understood the cost of his choices. He said he wanted to be part of their lives. I told him that wanting isn't enough, that being a father isn't about DNA or legacy, it's about consistency, about showing up when it's inconvenient. I didn't promise him anything. I told him I'd think about it. And that's where people start arguing. Some say I was wrong to keep the kids from him at first. Others say I was right to protect them. That's the thing about stories like this. There's no clean verdict, only consequences. Here's what I know. The woman Daniel left behind doesn't exist anymore. The one who stood outside that wedding wasn't seeking revenge. She was claiming her truth. If you've ever been told you weren't enough, that your body, your age, your circumstances disqualified you from love or happiness, I want you to sit with this for a second. Sometimes the people who walk away aren't escaping you. They're abandoning the best version of their own future. So tell me what you think. Was I right to show up? Was I wrong to wait? Where do you draw the line between protection and punishment? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because these are the conversations we don't have enough. And if you've ever watched someone be underestimated, misjudged, or discarded, share this with them. Sometimes seeing the ending helps you survive the middle.